Good evening and welcome to Apna Watan TV. I am Saadia Afzaal and this is Global Lens. It's barely 22 kilometers wide. It holds the key to India's national security and it can be blocked in less than an hour. It's called the Siliguri Corridor, or what many call India's chicken's neck. Today we ask a question India doesn't like to hear. What if China chokes this corridor? What if Bangladesh no longer plays along? And what if the fragile link to India's northeast breaks without a single shot being fired? Let's decode how India's own geography and diplomacy could turn into its biggest vulnerabilities. Let's start with the basics. The Siliguri Corridor is a narrow strip of land in West Bengal. On one side, Nepal and Bangladesh, on the other, Bhutan and China. And running through it, all road, rail and military supply lines to India's 7 northeastern states. If anything happens here, be it a blockade, a border, flare-up or diplomatic fallout, India's connection to the northeast collapses. One pinch at the chicken's neck and New Delhi could be cut off from 45 million of its own people. China already has the high ground, literally. The PLA sits just a few kilometers north of the Siliguri Corridor in the Chumbi Valley, Tibet. In 2017, India and China clashed at Doklam, a Bhutanese plateau near the corridor. That wasn't random, that was China testing India's reflexes near its most vulnerable point. Since then, China has built roads, helipads and barracks close to the corridor. Some experts believe that in the event of war, China could block or strike Siliguri, cutting off India's northeast. Think about it. India's fragile link, surrounded by 4 countries, 3 of which are either friendly to China or skeptical of India. Not a great position to be in. Let's talk about Bangladesh. For decades, India called Dhaka a reliable partner, but things are changing. Bangladesh is now a key partner in China's Belt and Road Initiative. In fact, China has overtaken India in trade, infrastructure projects, and military cooperation with Bangladesh. China helped build the Para Port, the Padma Bridge, and even Dhaka satellite. But here's the twist. These projects give China economic access and potentially military influence right on India's eastern border. Recently, Dhaka has also been less aligned with India's regional stance on Kashmir, on NRC, and on water sharing disputes. Relations are not hostile, but they are certainly cooler. India's foreign policy in South Asia was built on one assumption, that smaller neighbors would orbit New Delhi. But today, those orbits are shifting. Nepal is warming up to China. Bhutan is talking directly to Beijing. Bangladesh is diversifying away from India. And when you look at the chicken's neck, you realize something. India is surrounded not by geography alone, but by its own diplomatic missteps. India wants to be a regional hegemon, but refuses to treat neighbors as equals. The result? Isolation. And for the northeast, the risk of total strategic cutoff in a crisis. From Islamabad, we watched this not with hostility, but with realism. For decades, India tried to isolate Pakistan diplomatically. Now, India finds itself diplomatically isolated in its own neighborhood. As Pakistan strengthens ties with China, builds deeper bonds with Bangladesh, and engages actively in Central Asia, we see India's encirclement taking shape, not Pakistan's. We do not celebrate instability, but we do recognize this. In the game of geopolitics, every corridor has a counter corridor. And today, the chicken's neck is no longer India's strength. It's a soft underbelly. The Siliguri Corridor is more than just geography. It's a symbol of India's strategic anxiety, a reminder that even regional powers have pressure points. With China tightening its grip and Bangladesh looking eastward, the chicken's neck may soon feel the squeeze. I'm Saadia Afzaal, and this was your critical insight into South Asia's shifting power map. If you found value in this perspective, like, share and subscribe to Apna Watan TV, because the world is changing and we will keep decoding it, one story at a time.
You are watching Apna Watan.